Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome back to another video. So in this video, I want to talk about something that I just recently found out about. And that is Morgan Freeman will portray Colin Powell in an upcoming biopic or biopic. Do you guys say biopic or biopic? I think I tend to say bio. I think biopic, maybe. I think biopic I tend to say more. But yeah, let me know about that in the comment section. But yeah, according to Variety magazine, or Variety, Morgan Freeman, now, Morgan Freeman will portray Colin Powell in a biopic. So here's just a little bit of information about this. All right, Morgan Freeman will star as Colin Powell in an independent biopic about the former U.S. Secretary of State. The film will focus on Powell's 2003 speech to the United Nations to seek support for the Bush administration's plan to forcibly remove Iraqi dictator Saddam Hussein based on intelligence, later discredited. That Iraq was developing nuclear weapons. Colin later described the event as a low point in his career. So yeah, I'm like, that's interesting. I think that, while Morgan Freeman is a talented actor, I don't think he would have probably been the first, or should have been, the first choice. I don't think he would have been my personal first choice to play Colin Powell. I don't know what be up with these like Hollywood casting directors. I don't know. They make the craziest decisions when it comes to casting. I don't know what type of coke they be smoking, what type of Molly they be popping, what type of meth they be smoking through a crack pipe or whatever, however you do with meth. I don't touch that shit, but you know what I mean. But that's like low-key a theme that I think kind of flies under the radar a little bit when it comes to like light-skinned and or mixed race historical figures, particularly historical male figures in the black community, tend, when they're portrayed in like the movies or television shows, or they tend to get portrayed by men who are like brown skin and even dark skin sometimes. um, like, I didn't even know that Nat Turner was light skinned. I always thought Nat Turner was like a brown skinned man, but according to historical documents, he was described as being light in color. Not a mulatto, but light in color. I didn't know that. I always assumed that because I just seen him portrayed. And perhaps maybe that was like the media of his day, maybe darkening his face to make him, darkening his image to perhaps make him seem more sinister, perhaps. But still, like, I didn't know that. And we all know Nate Parker did his like Nat Turner movie and portrayed Nat Turner, so that's like one. Then, another historical figure, of course, we know is like Malcolm X. Malcolm X was portrayed by Denzel Washington. And me personally, I kind of give that one a pass. I give that one a pass. Because I think that Denzel Washington really did capture like, the spirit and the essence of Malcolm X pretty well. And I think, a popular opinion is, he did a really good job, portraying Malcolm X in the Spike Lee movie, But, I got to give him a citation, though. I got to give him a citation for that. It's not, it's a warning. It's a citation, that, you know, I'm watching, I'm going to let this one slide. But, on record, I got to put it on record, though. But Denzel Washington also in a previous movie, I believe it was sometime in the 80s or something, I think. May have been early 90s or 80s, I'm not sure. But he portrayed a mixed race man in a movie called Carbon Copy. I don't think the movie is like super popular, but I did see the movie. It was like on television one time. It was airing, um, and you know, his dad was the dude that played, um, I think Jack Gallo in like Just Shoot Me. If you guys ever saw that sitcom Just Shoot Me, he was, yeah, like his dad was the dude Jack Gallo from Just Shoot Me. And I'm just like, oh, that's so like Denzel Washington's mixed. Really? Like, y'all couldn't find any other actual mixed dudes to play a mixed dude, you know? And also, Chad uh, Chadwick Boseman. I usually just say Chad, but yeah, Chad Boseman. You know, the guy who played the Black Panther. He portrayed Thurgood Marshall in a movie. What? Who is coming up with these? Who's making these casting decisions? Like what? Like how much coke y'all been smoking in that casting room, man? God dang! I it don't make no sense. Like y'all couldn't have gotten any other beige, waffle color, high yellow Negro in Hollywood to play these parts. But no shade to Chad, because so far I don't really have anything against him. Hopefully, don't make this a habit. And I kind of feel like he may have been trying to get some, acting cred, something to put on his resume. But still, I'm like, come on now, come on. And he did speak on it that he was kind of worried about portraying Thurgood Marshall because of the way that he looks versus the way that Thurgood Marshall looks. It's not like, yeah, it doesn't quite match up. I know both of them are black men. But you know, but just because we all check the black box, it doesn't mean that we are all exactly interchangeable. Well, let's be honest. You know, you know. But me personally, won't be supporting. I most likely won't be supporting the Colin Powell biopic. At least if I really want to see it, I'll probably just bootleg it. Probably. No shade to Morgan Freeman. I don't really have anything against Morgan Freeman for them. Nothing I can really think of. You know, and the same thing with Chad Bosman, Denzel Washington, and Nate Parker. I really don't have anything against them as human beings, as people. But I actually did see those like Denzel Washington movies though, so they got my rating point or whatever. But yeah, I won't be supporting you know these particular projects. But I did support Chad and the Black Panther. I ain't got nothing against supporting my dark skinned, brown skinned brothers. All right, but sometimes it's just it's a little like can the light skinned biracial mix beige waffle color brothers get a little shine? A little shine, because it's usually always about like the brown skin, dark skin men. At least like for me, like I grew up in like the 90s and early 2000s, right? And once I got to like the in the 90s, I was like a kid, so it didn't really matter. But I think once I got to high school and like the early 2000s, it was kind of like about the brown skin, dark skin, dudes. Not that folks saw me as like ugly or anything or whatever. But I'm just saying. I mean, I think there were females who did express that they thought that I looked good or thought that I was attractive, you know. Um, you know, but I'll say I did notice, like, probably when high school started, I did notice, it was more attention on, the guys that were, the brown skin, dark skin dudes, but no, but thankfully I can say for the most part, except maybe like one time, but for the most part, I was never like juxtaposed or put, like, oh, eh, too bad you're not dark skinned. Thankfully I never had any comments like that or anything. But I think for me in, this particular situation here, it's just like, sometimes you kind of, want to see someone who's a bit more reflective of you, especially when it's like parts that are parts that you should be playing anyway. That parts like Thurgood Marshall, Colin Powell, Malcolm X. Like those guys were originally like light skinned, so why not just portray them as they were or are? Yeah. But I mentioned the time errors just to say like I came up when kind of like a light skin was quote unquote out of style, and dark skin came like quote unquote in style, right? Like we're fashion trends or something, right? Come on. But yeah, I just put that in there, and I think honestly, I think that's probably like a good thing that I did come up in that particular era. Honestly, I think during the '90s it wasn't a big thing because I don't know. I guess I was like a young adolescent, maybe. It was like I was at an age where like relationships and dating and love interests weren't really like in the '90s. It wasn't really like on my mind, right? Or like a lot of people's minds, really, especially when you get to a certain age. That's when it kind of starts. And for me, it was probably like early 2000s, like high school. Some people middle school. You know, I'll say middle school perhaps. But I think the colorism aspect kind of came into play in high school. I'll say. But even then, I kind of think I was a bit ignorant to colorism. A lot of ignorant, really. Like I didn't really know. Like people would mention it, and I would kind of be like, "Huh?" To an extent. To an extent, like someone had mentioned. Like I remember being in like 10th grade, and like a guy, brown skinned dudes, had mentioned something about oh, light skinned dudes are out or something. I was like, what does that mean? you know, kind of like being really ignorant to things, right? Because for me, like I guess in the household that I grew up in, it wasn't like colorist, and also my family, like colorism wasn't really like a topic of discussion. It never really came up, you know. And thankfully, I don't think my family ever made distinctions based on skin tone. Thankfully, um, you know, and I think for me, I kind of just went into situations perhaps being just a little ignorant, you know, and unaware of what was at play. But yeah, like light skins out. Like I didn't know. I kind of like low key. I kind of thought that we were all the same. Honestly, I kind like I really didn't make a distinction between myself and like brown skin, dark skin, black people. You know, because I was just brought up to identify as black, right? And I never really like. And still, honestly, to an extent, even now, I tend to not really make a big distinction. But I'm just probably more aware of it now, because I'm an adult and have lived some time, like lived more, you know. But the neighborhood that I grew up in, and the kids that were in the neighborhood, many of them were like brown skinned, dark skinned kids, and thankfully we never really got into that whole colorism aspect. No one ever like attacked anyone because they were a different skin tone, made fun of anyone, cracked any type of jokes like that. Not really. Like on like a blue moon occasion, we might mention skin tone, but it usually wasn't like it. It was never like in a negative way though. It was just like, hey, you know, you're kind of light skinned, you know, you know, like oh, you know, like if we played like a game or something, and like light skinned folks kind of, you know, happen to end up on this team, and the brown skinned folks happen to end up on this team. It's like, hey, hey, oh, that's the light skinned team. But yeah, it was never like really like a big deal, thankfully. In my neighborhood, at school, you know, it kind of started, you know, I kind of started to take note of it like in middle school, perhaps a little bit, in terms of like, you know, the questions like, what are you, you know. But I think in high school, that's when I kind of became more aware of it. But even still, high school, I felt like I was kind of ignorant, you know. But yeah, I've been rambling and going on. My bad. But I'm going to bring this video to a close. But yeah, what's up with these casting directors, right? And also, before I end this video, like, you know, just to set the record straight, I don't have a problem, alright? I don't have any problems with any brown skin, dark skinned men, alright? You know, I got much love for my brown skin, dark skinned brothers, you know, and I, much like other light skinned, biracial, mixed, light skin, you know, men, we do, you know, support, you know, our dark skin, brown skin brothers, you know, and their projects that they have. All right, we're not just sitting up here just saying, you know, we just only supporting folks who look exactly like us. All right, because it's not true. You know, light skinned dudes definitely support the brown skin, dark skinned dudes that are in the media. They do. You know, I'm sure plenty of light-skinned dudes wanted to be like Mike, you know, Michael Jordan. I'm sure plenty of light-skinned dudes wanted to be Michael Jackson, like Michael Jackson, right? Even Bobby Brown, you know? You know? And I think that to an extent, you know, light-skinned dudes are kind of like somewhat socialized and taught to kind of see themselves through brown skinned, dark skinned men, because they, you know, brown skinned, dark skinned men are the face of black men, you know, and also black people, really, you know, but especially black men um, are the face, you know. Like, hell, how many light skinned dudes showed up to see the Black Panther? Come on, come on. Like, you know, and I think, you know, even some were like, you know, happy and to support and see, and they kind of just wish they could have been a part of it a little bit, you know. But understandably, you know, it just wouldn't make sense for you know to see some like random beige folks in in Wakanda, right? Although I did hear that Trevor Noah did have a very small part in the Black Panther. I think he may have played like a voice or something. I think I may have seen like two light-skinned dudes for like a split second in Wakanda. Maybe. It's like when the plane like lifted up and was about to take off, then like they fell back or fell into some hole or something like that. Yeah. And also like rappers too. Yeah. So yeah, yeah. Come on, y'all. You know, so don't. I ain't saying, but I'm just saying, don't be going to coming to my comment section with, you know, some BS though. That's all I'm trying to say. All right. I'm gonna bring this video to a close, you guys. You know, I apologize for going on for so long. I didn't mean to go on for this long, but thanks for watching. You know, I appreciate it. And please leave your comments. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.